Daddy, man, I'm sorry, man. I ain't gonna mess nothing up, you know what I'm saying? But I was just thinking, you know what I'm saying? I'm the only one. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only one. Ain't Margie. Ain't Margie still living. You know, Lynn, Sonya, and Quinn is still living, but you know, I was thinking about Uncle O.B. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy Ray Daddy, Audrey and Kaylee, and Tara and Seal. Cause I said bring 'em young. You know what I'm saying? When I named bring 'em young, I said bring 'em young. You know what I'm saying? And I had to come home as Thomas Young to Tara and Seal and Kay. You know what I'm saying? That's how Thomas came home. And when I was Dr. J, you know, Jimmy Johnson, you know what I'm saying? I had that car that Thomas had that was peanut butter and maroon like Hilliard High Panthers. That car was in the background of me when I shot the movie, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? That's when we did the movie, The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh, as Lou Guthrie, as Dr. J. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that played out good. And then Grant coming in there being Wesley Snipes, you know what I'm saying? That really hit me hard. And Malone and Lee, you know, Mitchell, you know, the prize fighter, you know what I'm saying? The other Tyson, you know what I'm saying? The real Tyson. Supposed to have been Big Mitch. Me and Tyson was supposed to be in the same platoon too. I don't know if Tyson had any problem. Customata. I always say Customata, but Customata name was Custom Model. Custom Model from God to Tyson. Custom Model. Because Tyson needed precious love. You know what I'm saying? Because Tyson could have been a troubled kid. He could have been a tiny listing, like when I was tiny listing, for I got my right eye put out. You know what I'm saying? On accident. Like Pookie, Thomas Young's brother, or nephew. I think nephew. But man, Baby City, man, got everybody. You got Adrian Caesar. That was the real Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? When the Cosby Show really was Uncle Leroy. You know what I'm saying? And Uncle Leroy was Bill Cosby. But he died before I could, you know, grow up. You know, I think I was about 5 or 3 or 4, and he died at 46 years old. You know what I'm saying? No, yeah, he died at 46 years old, but I was young when he died, and he stayed Bill Cosby a long time. Too long, that's why I got messed up on God. Because Uncle Leroy was dead, but I still seen Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show. You know what I'm saying? I was getting confused with Bill Cosby and the Cosby Show and Cliff Hustable. And then I was seeing my cousin Clifton Casey and Uncle Leroy, and I was seeing Roy Lee and Thomas Jackson and Carl Jackson and Sammy Jackson and Larry Jackson, and I was seeing myself as Peck though. And then I still thought of my cousin Jeffrey J.K. as Jeffrey J.K. But ain't Lou you know what I'm saying, had another name. Aunt Lou was that lady that Uncle Leroy was acting with. But they was really husband and wife. Movies ain't no fake shit. Movies, they started out sneaking and filming people. You know what I'm saying? Filming you in your living room and fussing with your wife and all that shit. They started that shit with Daddy. When Daddy was Billy D. Williams. You know what I'm saying? And then that shit, they start stealing material. Like what I'm doing now, you know what I'm saying? Somebody from my old job would have a camera and everything in my house if they knew where I stay. And they would lie and act like they me or try to sell me as a movie. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. You know what I'm saying? But Uncle Leroy, what's that lady name that was that actor that played on the Cosby Show? I thought of her name today. But I don't want that to be Aunt Lou though. That's why I don't want to think of her name. Because I don't want that to be Aunt Tennessee. And I don't want Aunt Tennessee to shoot Uncle Leroy for real. And it really happened in real life. But I know Uncle Leroy still Bill Cosby. That's what throw me off, because I'm Todd Bridges. You know what I'm saying? I'm Urkel sometimes. I'm JJ all the time, because I was mostly JJ when my mama was Rebecca Beagh, and my daddy was Jerry, which was James Evans, and my mama was Florida Evans. You know what I'm saying? Then Mama Dear was on the Jeffersons with Uncle Peck. That's when Uncle Peck hair was fucked up. He was the man that played the Jeffersons man. And Red Fox stayed Mr. Bubba. And Red Fox stayed Good Time, O'Neal Jones. But O'Neal Sewell was, worked at the paper mill. You know what I'm saying? At the paper mill, then he graduated and then they moved him in to work at the international paper. You know what I'm saying? That was my father-in-law too, you know what I'm saying? Him and Neil shared neither. You know what I'm saying? That was the way I put it, because they both was her daddy. She had a real dad and a stepdad, and nobody really knew which one was. But, you know what I'm saying, I just, knew she was a good time child, because she looked just like Mary Lou and them. You know what I'm saying? And Mary Lou's sister. So Nita looked just like Steen and them. That's Nita's family on the other side. And my family, Casey. So I'm Uncle Leroy, son, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Roy Lee, Elroy, and Clifton, my brothers. And Thomas Jackson, my brother, Sammy Jackson, and Larry Jackson, my brothers too. But Thomas Jackson Sr. wasn't really their daddy. You know what I'm saying? I was. So I was Uncle Leroy's son, but I was their daddy, if you get my drift. I was the oldest son, but I was Uncle Leroy's son, and I was their daddy, Cake them daddy. You know what I'm saying? Palm them. I would be Palm daddy if I was Uncle Peck. But Wilma and Miss Ira's mama had kids by Uncle Peck. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Peck kids was Sharon and Ray Murphy and Bonnie. That's how come I messed up one time when Letha turned 18, because I ain't know Letha was my niece. You know what I'm saying? So, she was my cousin, really, but she was my Uncle Peck's the granddaughter. So it was my niece, because Sharon and Bonnie and Ray was my uh, what you call it, uncles and aunties. So, cause Bonnie, she knew it. Mama did used to talk to Bonnie on the way to school. And Mama did Ben knew, but Palm thought Mama didn't know Bonnie was Uncle Peck child. Bonnie thought Mama didn't know, so she tried to keep it a secret too. But Mama did knew everything about everybody, but she stayed in her own lane and mind her own business, cause she knew who I was, and I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to be at every football game. It is as God a player and God a fan and a coach. I was supposed to be at every game. Damn. But I know how it feels to put on your pads every goddamn Sunday, or every Tuesday, or every Thursday, or every Friday. Because I had to do it so many times, and so many kids and so many grown-ups that it was an everyday thing. So when my kids came and I started coaching my son, it just kind of like the world got mad at me because I was winning for one. It was just little league, but I was winning in, neighborhood counties and cities, was kind of getting mad because, everything we do, we doing moving. Everything we do, when we live, we do moving. That's how we lost the Super Bowl at Longhorn, because West Columbia, little boys stayed at home when we did our favorite plays. And we had like one favorite play that always worked, and that favorite play couldn't work. We had more plays, but that favorite play didn't work because we had too much speed on that play for it not to work. But then, and he was too big to bring down. But then when that boy stayed at home on that play and got him down every time, the whole team got him down every time. I had to go to the playbook, get some more shit, but then, man, they knew I was going to run Jeremy 3 or 4 times, then I was going to run Chad 1. Or Jeremy 3 or 4 times and run Booby 1. And then one of them was going to break for a touchdown, because that's the way it was. And we'd be up 50-something to 0 at goddamn halftime and have to put the second team in the rest of the game. My starters didn't even play but half the game because they played both ways and they was too goddamn good to lose. And that's what I hated when they went from Little League, Pee Wee League to junior high. When they went to junior high, the coaches switched their positions. And some of them wasn't playing. Some of them was on B team. And these was Super Bowl contenders. And I didn't understand. So I went to the school. Asked the man, how come they not using my son? I asked him about my son at first. And he said, your son my best defensive man. He my best linebacker. I said, linebacker? You know what I'm saying? He played running back. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know. He told me. I saw it. But, I need him for this and that. So we played a couple of games, and they lost a couple of games. But both games they could have won if my son would have been running back. And then he proved it to me when they scrimmaged Clute Intermediate. So when they scrimmaged the other school, the rivalry school, and they used my son to win, but then when we got the regular season, they wouldn't use my son at running back and run him more than 3 or 4 times. You know what I'm saying? They only ran him one at fullback if he was in there, because he played linebacker full time. He didn't play running back. So they lost their ass off, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't complain. And his excuse to me, the coach's excuse to me was, my job is to get these boys ready for Brazzlewood. We don't care too much about winning games. We care about getting the boys ready for Brazzlewood. Man, making them losers. That's what they did, train them to lose. Him and see what it is the parents or the coaches. Because they PTA. And, the Parent Teachers Association is Parents and Teachers Association. You know what I'm saying? The parents of the athlete have to join the PTA and be a friend of the parents and teachers of the school district, not the parents and teachers of friends district. It ain't your friend. You ain't got no friend when you move from town to town. And my wife used to remind me all the time, my ex-wife used to remind me all the time that I was the reason my kids was held back in school in the kindergarten. They would hold my kids back in second grade. Every one of them got held back except for one. I just told them people off, and they left me alone. But they really didn't leave me alone. They killed me at Dow Chemical. They had me killed a couple other times. So, you know what I'm saying? I got to where I just didn't even fuck with them motherfuckers. And I ain't fuck with Bay City no more because of Van Lake and the Leopards. You know what I'm saying? Because they know how they got their name. I can say one name, Arthur Game. He got killed by the police over nothing but a BB gun, pellet gun. So, and he shouldn't have had it. But that was before we came up with rules and stuff. I hadn't finished this yet. I already finished what I'm doing. What I'm doing was finished. The year it got finished. But then what I'm doing now is getting us ready for eternal life. For where we all know we gods when we look in the mirror. That's all the miracle is. That God is the man that's made in God's image. That know he made in God's image. Not that renounce the devil. Because ain't no such thing as evil if you ain't got no name. And they ain't gonna put no name on no devil. But TD Jake, that's the only one put on the devil. Because he got TD. I know Thomas and I know Dexter. And my last name Thompson and Thomas sometimes. So I ain't scared of no Jake. You know what I'm saying? That's janky. To be scared of a nigga that you knew was predestined to do you wrong. So I can't kill him. I can't do nothing but tell him he can't teach no more of what he was teaching. And the only thing he could do is make pots. And the pots, I wouldn't advise nobody and I wouldn't use them with the soul he had. Because I ain't gonna give him mine. You don't change the soul. You can change the heart, but then you can't change the soul. And you can't change the heart either. I just lied. You can't change the heart. You can do heart surgery and can't give a motherfucker another man's heart and live no longer than you gonna live. That's it. What you gonna do? Get a heart transplant, get God's heart or the king's heart, and then live 3 more years on a pacemaker. You know what I'm saying? And die because all you wanted was God's heart for 2 or 3 years just to, you know what I'm saying, not let another man live because he say he was God and he was a black man. Come on, man. Be real. Be real, dog. Be real.
Hello, collective.
And falsehood do lie.
It says, if a man walking in the spirit of falsehood and does lie, go ahead.
Saying, I will prophesy unto thee of wine.
Of what?
Of wine.
Of wine. Come on.
And a strong drink.
Well, I understand that. I understand that very well. I'm gonna prophesy to you, and it's gonna, and I'm gonna explain to you why you doing wrong. I tell you, you supposed to tell somebody their transgressions. You ain't snitching, and you ain't judging and accusing if you do it the right way. I really don't like ICIU or IUIC. You know what I'm saying? Because they be on the street being too bold when we preaching something that we shouldn't be preaching. You know what I'm saying? Even though we know we didn't make it up, but we should be not damn fools to be in the street and doing what we doing now on these podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Preaching something that was made up by somebody else. And we know damn well God ain't never made no devil. So why are you even, you know, judging and accusing, being messy about it and debating? Why the fuck? What the fuck? If you know you God, you can look in the mirror and get your mirror call and see me as God, Adam. And you know Adam ain't never had number one name. He ain't no atomic bomb, but his name ATOM. You know what I'm saying? That's just ADG, ADDAM. And that D for daddy. You know what I'm saying? Kiwana Cubs was my first wife, kids. Kiwana Cubs. That was the baseball team. That was the Babe Ruth baseball team, Kiwana Cubs. Because only I know and they know how they became Kiwana Cubs. But them names done been put in the record books and we seal them up. Cheryl is Cheryl and Marsh is Marsh and Letterman is Letterman. So, you know, we got our life straight. You don't need to preach the gospel to nobody. That's ghost spells. That's gossip. Ghost spells is gossip. You don't need to know what Jesus said to the disciples. You don't need to know what the disciples said to Jesus. That's all mess. Messy, ain't it? Or messy, ain't it? Because don't nobody go to church really but women. Where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? This God. Don't nobody go to church but women. The men stay at home. And the women go to church. But the only problem is it's a man preaching to them. But the problem wouldn't be that if the women